How often have you found yourself practicing your golf but not really knowing what you're trying to do? Lost in a sea of swing thoughts, down a YouTube rabbit hole, looking for answers to questions that you didn't even know you had? Well, today I'm going to share with you one specific data point that you should be focusing on every single time you practice. It's directly correlated to how good or how bad of a golfer you are, and using this hula hoop and Trackman, I'm going to help you to see exactly how to become a better, more consistent ball striker with only one single thing to think about. And that single data point that I'm referring to is low point. Low point control, low point location refers to where the bottom of your swing happens, the base of the circle of the swing, whereabouts that happens on the ground relative to the golf ball, will to a large extent determine your skill level and your handicap. If you follow me over to the mat, I'll place this hula hoop down on the ground. I've got that blue tape at the base of the hula hoop to give you an idea of how low point is measured and then what you should be looking for to improve your golf. If the low point of your swing was at the ball, directly underneath the golf ball, Trackman would measure that as 0.0, neither forwards nor backwards. If it was ahead of the ball, like this, and that would be desirable if you're a golfer, if you're someone who watches golf and see PGA Tour players, they would have the low point of their swing after the ball. This amount here would be pretty consistent with good ball striking, some 3 to 4 inches in front of the golf ball. And the better player you are, the further forward your low point is. Conversely, as the low point gradually moves back, and in some cases even gets to be before the golf ball, this would be indicative of the highest handicap golfer. The club bottoming out prematurely before the ball, leading to fat shots and thin shots and zero consistency in terms of ball striking. So low point is the metric that you should be paying attention to. The further forward it is, the better golfer you are. The further back it is, the higher your handicap will be. So it would seem sensible that we should pay attention to this metric when we practice. Trackman actually measures the low point location, the low point distance, when you hit balls from the ground. And that can be extremely valuable because when you hit from a mat or an artificial surface, you don't always get to see where the club really bottomed out. That only really happens when you hit from the grass. Expert players demonstrate low point control with almost 100% frequency. Here's a recent clip from Scotty Scheffler, the world's #1 men's player, hitting balls from the grass and demonstrating near perfect low point control, hitting the ground in the same place every time after the ball. But I wouldn't tell you to do this because Scotty Scheffler does it, or Rory McIlroy does it, or anybody else for that matter. I would tell you to do it because there is a direct correlation between your ability to perform this skill and your skill level, your handicap, as a golfer. So if you truly want to improve, you should be focusing on this metric. Recently, my friend Michael Bygrave posted this picture on his Instagram. Mike's one of the best coaches I know, and if you don't already follow him, you really should. I'll put the links to his socials down in the description of this video. This picture that Mike shared was his experience of the Trackman data across different handicaps, and specifically how low point correlated to handicap. So what is it that the best players are doing to be able to keep that low point consistently after the ball, hit down and make better contact than higher handicappers? There must be something that they're doing and you're not. Let's get into the detail of that. The answer to that question lies in a golfer's weight location. Overwhelmingly, the best players move their weight more forward throughout the swing so that by the time they reach impact, they're able to put the lowest point of this arc after the ball. Most of you would know that you're supposed to hit down when it comes to hitting the ball from the ground, and in order to strike this ball while the club is still descending, that low point has to be after the ball. And in order to get it after the ball, the first thing you should look to do is to have your weight more forward. And yet what I tend to see on the lesson tee and on online lessons that come through to me on the Skillist app is golfers who, number one, start with their weight too far back, number two, move it further back during the backswing, and then number three, never get it forward enough, fast enough in time to hit the ball. They're always on their back foot. That would look something like this, and you'll see how Trackman will pick up that low point distance was not after the ball, it was 2 inches before the ball. That ball carried 97 yards. The last shot I hit carried 167. That's the difference that you're looking for. Get the location of the weight correct at setup, at the top, and at impact, and watch the quality and the consistency of your ball striking go through the roof. So here's exactly what I would do. At setup, I would turn out both my feet, paying particular attention to turning out the lead foot. Flaring out the foot helps to turn the knees out, and turning the knees out helps to keep the pressure here more forwards as I turn back in the backswing. So often feet that are straight, pointed more straight towards the camera here, will allow the legs to collapse more in the takeaway, leading to that sway that we certainly don't want. So the first thing I would do is turn my feet out. The next thing I would do is place more weight onto that lead side. Start with at least 60% of your weight on the lead side. Again, that's consistent with good ball strikers. And then what I would look to try to do here would be to just move my left shoulder and left knee down, directly down in the backswing. My feel would be to keep my left shoulder, my left knee, and my left ankle stacked on top of each other, almost in this single column you could see here if I made this demonstration. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only way you can play golf, and I'm not saying that's the only way you can get your low point to be after the ball. There's different ways to do it. But more skilled golfers are generally able to time some of these bigger movements. I'm looking at you and asking you, if you need to improve your ball striking in a few seconds, these adjustments will help you to make better contact than you've ever made, and it'll only take a few seconds for you to do it. Turn your feet out, put your weight on the front, and as you make the backswing, move your lead knee down. Try to feel like it goes over your lead foot, so it actually traces over the shoelaces almost. There will be a tiny bit of inward movement here as the hips turn, but the sensation and the feel would be that the lead knee goes down over the foot and the lead shoulder goes down over the knee. Look how that keeps my head very stable and centered, allows me to keep my weight forward, and undoubtedly will help me to get the low point after the ball. That's 6 inches after the ball. There's 171 yards of carry. So getting the low point in a consistent spot improves the contact quality, improves the contact consistency, which ultimately leads to not just more distance, because the contact, the strike is better. More important than more distance is a consistent distance, an ability to hit these clubs the same distance more often. That's why this skill is associated with better golf. If you control how far you hit these clubs, your shots into the greens land and finish closer to your intended target. When you do that, you take less shots to finish your round of golf. So that's the reason you want this skill under control. Turn those feet out, put the weight on the front, and then consider moving the lead shoulder and lead knee down and stacking this whole front side in a column that you would just be able to draw a line straight up and down. If you do that, I promise you your ball striking will improve. And if you wanted a training aid that would help you to be able to feel what that was like, to ensure that there was no sway and you were keeping your weight firmly fixed on the front foot, then I would recommend taking a look at this pressure plate I have on the ground here from a company called Bygrave. They make some great training aids. This pressure plate is designed with a curved base so that it's able to rock back and forward. The way that I would tell you to set up this board would be to take your setup. You can do this without a ball to begin with, just to get you familiar with the concept. Turn out the feet like I said, and push the lead side of the board slightly down towards the ground. In order to do that, you have to place more weight, more mass towards the lead side. That would be a good starting point. Getting a sense, for many of you, that will feel more weight, like more weight on your front leg than you've ever had before. That's just a great place to start from. Again, if I'm trying to get this low point to be further forward after the ball, then I'd want my weight to match. So setting up with more weight on the lead side is good. Get the board to be slightly pushed into the ground. And then make practice swings, trying to keep the lead side of the board pushed down into the ground. That's going to help me create this column, lead shoulder, lead knee, ankle, the feeling that that stays more on top of each other, as opposed to what many of you will find you start to do, particularly when you move into your backswing, is that you start to sway. That movement would push the trail side of the board down here, and you'll see how my ankle, knee and shoulder are no longer stacked on top of each other. From this position, it becomes infinitely more difficult to get the low point after the ball. Again, I'm not saying that keeping your weight on your front side is the only way to control the low point, but I'd say it's the easiest way. Mechanically, it's a much more simple golf swing, and it's far fewer things for you to think about. Moving back and forth, trying to time that is terribly difficult, especially if you're a recreational golfer playing maybe once a week at best. How are you going to time that movement every single week? Conversely, put the weight on the front, keep the weight on the front, go ahead and start hitting the best shots of your life. That felt very solid off the club face. Low points in exactly the same position, 6 inches after the ball, 6 degrees down, 173 yard carry, and that's 3 of the tightest push draw shots you'll ever see. If you're not sold on this yet, I don't really know what I can do to help you. I would say that it's overwhelmingly obvious that the best players control the low point. And if you want to start controlling the low point of your swing, you need to get control of the location of your weight. And in order to do that, starting on the front foot and staying on the front foot is the most logical, simple, mechanically easiest way to get it done. Guys, thanks for watching the video today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I'd love you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you'd like to join the members only section of the YouTube channel, you're very welcome to do that. There's a link down in the description of this video for you to do just that. You'll get early access to every single video. It goes out 24 hours before the videos become public, and there is member only content on the channel that you won't find anywhere else. You'll get full access to my Draw Every Ball series as well as the short game series as well. There's tons of extra content in the members only section. If you're interested in taking a look at that, make sure you click on the link in the description. And if you're interested in finding out more about the Y-Golf pressure plate and how you can get your hands on one of these, I'll pop a link down in the description as well. So now you understand that the skill of low point control is essential in order for you to become a better golfer. You really need to learn how to recognize where your club is hitting the ground when you don't have access to grass or a $20,000 launch monitor like Trackman. I made this video here which talks about how range mats lie. And without knowing what's in this video, you'll never really truly understand how to control that low point perfectly. The other question I always get is, does it work for the driver? Well, if you want to learn the biggest mistake you've been making with the driver, you could click on this video next.